All right there. Okay, so sorry everyone. It seems like I lost you, and I am trying to wait till you guys get back on here, and so I can add my guests onto here. So I'm going to wait till Tim and them get in here. Thank you for coming back on here, Jesse. Thank you, Emma. Emma, thank you for joining me. Sorry about that. I dropped everyone. I'm trying to get my guests on here, so I'm going to wait till they come on and I'll go ahead and add them. Thank you, George. Thank you for being a part here. And again, like I said, I'm looking for you guys to be a big part of this unity of the love movement. The love movement is necessary. We need each other, and the love movement is about transforming one life at a time, one life at a time. And it is so important that we come together as a body to help so many. The big project that I'm doing right now, which I'm excited about, in spirit, because it's for the children, and God just showed me how they are crying out right now, how they're crying out. So let me add Tim right now. Invite Tim to be a guest. Invite. Okay, I'm inviting Tim. Yes, I think I'm doing it, you guys. Thank you for joining, and it's next one. Oh my gosh, Tim, I did it. How?
Yeah, you did it. It's not so hard after all,
Oh
is it?
my gosh, how are you guys? Hey, Karen, how are you?
Hi,
Oh my
I'm
God,
great. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining me. And boy, I tell you, I finally did this. I like lost you guys the first time, but I'm glad everybody's come back on and so forth. Thank you, AJ, for joining us, and Mario. Awesome. So today is mashed potatoes, as you know, and Tim and Karen has been a wonderful guest to us, and I spoke to Karen, me and her jailed, and she talked about how it is to actually be in a relationship with God, and waiting for that right person to come in your life, and how she waited for 4 years and kept herself and waited for God to come into her life. Karen, why don't you go and tell them a little bit, about some of the things that we talked about, and then I'll go over to Tim, and then we'll come together, show them what it's all about being as a couple.
All right. Well, I was waiting and had always wanted to meet the right man, and I had dated many guys, and
Mini baby?
several throughout the years.
I'm finding out stuff.
Yeah, I had dated several guys throughout the years because I was married in my early 20s. So I became a widow early in life. So throughout the 30 years, I dated many guys off and on. And I decided, I just don't want to date someone and be in a relationship for like maybe a year or two and then find out this is not the right one for me. So I decided personally I was just going to pray and just wait on God and to just be celibate, obviously. And hopefully I will be led to my king. And in that time, I made myself happy. You have to be happy first before you can bring anyone else into your life. And I just had to practice patience, which I had to learn. And hopefully, I knew he would eventually come into my life. I got lucky because I had a girlfriend who convinced me to go online. And I was online previously on another site. And she said, you must try Tinder. And I'm like, oh my God, that's not what I want. That's what I'm running from. I don't want anyone who's not serious, that doesn't have a strong faith in God, that is just out there to play. God bless them, if they want to play around and they're not ready for a commitment with such as marriage, which is fine with me. But she said, try it for 1 week. And so I finally did. And of course, I got lucky, very lucky. I met my Timmy.
Now, was that the only person you met on there at the time, or was that just one that some?
No, there were other guys. There were other guys that I was,
What? Other?
yeah, other guys that I was talking to. And it's just so when Tim and I had our first coffee date, it was just like that was it. He just took control. And that's another thing. A king knows his queen when he sees her, and he takes control.
Oh, I love it.
Whereas the other guys, it's like I had a coffee date and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to see them again, or, you know, I have to think about it. It's that type of thing. But before I even got to the coffee date, we had a few conversations, obviously. And that's exactly what I did too with the other guys. I had a conversation before I met them, but I had only been on a couple of dates because I was only on there for a little over a week.
Really?
So
That,
it was
wow.
still very, yeah, it was still very new. Actually, I was on another site, eHarmony, and I was on that one for a month, and I met quite a few great guys there, but not physically, just phone conversations and emails and stuff. But when I met Tim,
I saw them. I'm glad God let me rescue her from them.
yeah,
But
when I
anyway,
met my Tim, it was like that was it. But, you know, so throughout the years of, you know, trial and error, you know, meeting someone and then, you know, they're a great person, but they're not necessarily for me. You come to a point in life where you just say, you know what? I want happiness. I want to be with the right one. I'm tired of dating. I don't want to just waste my time, in the sense it's not a waste to meet someone, because I enjoy and love meeting other people, you know, that God has created, because you learn something about yourself as well as learning them about them. But I just wanted to meet someone and just be, this is the person. I'm done. I don't want to be out there single. I don't want to spend holidays alone. I don't want to rely on friends to do something with. And so that's when I decided, you know, I'm going to be celibate. And I would tell them you know, I'm interested in a serious relationship. And if they didn't like that, that's fine. But this is what I wanted, and I wasn't going to change my priority. And I knew that if I stayed in faith and practiced patience, it would definitely pay off.
Oh, that's awesome. And how long were you on there, Tim, before she was there on Tinder?
oh, me?
He was on there forever,
What?
like a year.
Are you serious?
Yeah, can you believe it?
Oh my
Yeah,
Hello.
I had to wait to find somebody dumb enough to swipe me to the right.
No, you had a lot of women, according to what you told me, that you were dating,
you know.
and women would just run from him
Oh
because
no.
he would be, yeah, because he would be like, well, I'm
Why would they
celibate.
run from me?
They would, because because you're too sexy, honey, and you'd said I'm celibate,
They
and
couldn't get any.
they were yeah, they were on there for other reasons, but Tim was on there to find a mate, just like I was on there to find a husband. You know, even though I didn't want to be on there, and of course my girlfriend who convinced me to go on there, she came to the wedding, and I can't thank her enough. But I was totally against, and she would tell you that I was like looking at her like, what are you on? You know, what happened to you? Why would you suggest this? Like, I was really kind of like, no way. That's why I'm on eHarmony. I want someone where I know something about them.
And
You
she
take
ended
the
up being a
test.
tenderoni.
Yeah, you know, you learn some things, because Tinder is just a picture, a few words, and, you know, a swipe. It's like,
And
what's
that's
that?
all I needed.
I'm telling you.
Picture and a few words.
Yeah.
Pulled me a star.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let him talk. I don't want to.
My dear wife wanted a whole dossier on a person.
Yes.
Because eHarmony made you take this little thing and go through all this thing, and they matched this perfect person. And that's the vision that she had of how it had to work.
Yes.
You have to know everything.
Not everything, just some important things. Come on.
My philosophy is, if you can just look at like 3 or 4 pictures of a person and a little paragraph, and you say, wow, I can see something there. The rest you find out from the person. Because it's easy to go to eHarmony and look at profiles over and over and over, and then convince yourself, well, maybe I like this, and maybe I like that when you contact them. This is a game of chance. I saw somebody and said, wow, I think I like her. She saw me and said, wow, I think I like him. Bing, connection.
Wow.
So we both were doing something called thin slicing. We actually know what we want.
Right.
And we actually get in a lot of bad situations when we really know we shouldn't. But a certain aspect of our psyche will take over, usually lust or some other ulterior motive. And there we go, just prancing off into some bad situation. And in reality, most people, they look back, they knew it wasn't going to end well. They knew they didn't start it the right way. But I went on and I said, I'm looking for a certain type of woman. If I saw a swimsuit picture, no. If I saw a picture holding a drink at a party, hugged up with a bunch of people, There's certain things I was looking for. I made it clear. I'm a father. I'm celibate. I'm looking for someone serious, looking for marriage. I made it clear what my intentions were. She responded to that.
That's great.
I looked at her intentions. They aligned with what I said magically. She was saying pretty much the same thing. I responded to that. Now we're married.
Yeah, we are. Well, you know what I did do, and I think this, I can't take the credit. My girlfriend, when she convinced me to go on Tinder, she said, Karen, I know it's a hookup and this is what people say, yada, yada, but I've met
Hooked up for life, yeah.
I met some wonderful guys because she was on there. She said some wonderful guys and we're still friends. And she said, what it is, it's what you write. That's the key. And I said, well, help me with that. So you go on there. I put on a couple of pictures of myself. I didn't have like 10 pictures. I didn't have like 10 pictures like this one here had on. Pictures.
That's funny.
And I just made mine very simple. I just did, this is what I value most in a man. And I just listed maybe 7 or 8 things and left it at that because I said, if anyone swipes and they're interested in me, that's conversation to have in depth and to see,
God opened my eyes to see, because she took a picture with the iPhone and the camera was too close, made her nose look like it was.
You know what, hon? You had pictures on there of you and the cute little Alan and Brandon, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have swiped it off. Okay, so the bottom line is if you just go on and you get over your fear, like I had to, because I not to go online so much, but to not attract, the fear of attracting someone that I was trying not to attract. The man that's still not sure if he's ready to settle down or make a commitment with someone or be a true king. So once I got over that fear, like, okay, I can weed them out by just being right to the point. And she was absolutely right. So I wrote, I value, a man who loves God, who is compassionate, who is loyal, who is kind, who loves his family. Like, I listed the most important things that matter to me, who's intelligent, who's, all of these things that I listed, and it was less than 10 items, obviously got me my guy.
And that's
awesome.
Didn't say.
And all of the ones that that looked at that and said, oh, I don't want to know her. I don't want to, it kept them away. So it was a blessing in disguise.
She's on a roll tonight.
I think that's a great thing. It's so funny. I tried that so many years ago, right? And it was eHarmony, because I remember my brother told me, he's like, oh, I met this girl on eHarmony. And I took the time let me tell you, this is so funny. I took the time to do it. They ejected me. They would not, I couldn't get on there. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was
You're an eHarmony reject?
I'm an eHarmony reject, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what, did I say too much about God or what, because I was just like in my spiritual moment, I'm like this and that. And I'm like, they said, sorry, I'm like, what? How dare you? And ever since then, I've never. And so when I got you guys on here and you were talking about Tinder, and then I went and I looked and I was like, but I didn't have that push. I was like, I think I'm stagnant from rejection, from a long time ago. But I looked, I was like, oh, and it just stayed up on my computer, and then it deleted, But I love this because tonight we're going to talk about how to know how to know you're ready for a spouse, And as you know, we spoke about this too, Karen, about how we have to actually heal ourselves, and really heal ourselves. Only God can really heal us, but really to pay attention to the patterns that we've been through, to make sure that we break that mold, because we'll get into relationships that are the same, but they wasn't beneficial, or they wasn't really what we needed in our lives, right? So
right. Well, all relationships are learning experiences. And so if you look at it like that, even though the relationship didn't work out, and whether you're disappointed about it, you can still learn something from it. So really you need to go within And you really, I think the best thing for me, because when I was in a relationship that didn't work out, and maybe it was a year relationship or more or a little less, I would always say, that's it. I just want to be by myself. I would always go within, be by myself. And when I say by myself, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm by myself for 2 weeks or I'm by myself for a month. I'm talking about a year or two would pass. And I'd say, you know what? Okay, now I'm ready to venture back out in the world again and meet guys. Of course, I went out and had fun with friends, but as far as wanting to date or to be with someone, no, because I was getting to know more about me and defining what I would accept and what I will not accept.
I got a low mileage wife.
And what about you, Tim?
That's what. So I would let like literally years go by. So then all of a sudden 3 years might have passed, and I say, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna meet someone, hopefully. And my wish was never to meet someone online, so that's why I didn't go online. It was always more, oh, if I could meet them at church, or if I could meet them grocery shopping, or maybe at the car dealer when I'm getting my car maintenance or something. I just wanted to meet them in a natural setting. And then, I could tell by looking in their eyes, the eyes are the windows to the soul, and say, maybe this might be a person of interest to get to know. But it didn't work like that.
My wife is very pre-formatted. Everything has to work a certain way that she's already figured it out.
So I had to do the online route.
She's learned to be spontaneous ever since we've met, which is a good thing, because she's very structured. And I'm not really a structured. So
he's far from structured. And that's an opposite. Now, if he had been on eHarmony and taken the test, I would have known that about him.
Oh my God.
We're making each other better.
And I love you guys said that,
because we're meeting in the middle.
I've learned this. You know how they always say opposites attract. This is what God showed me about that. It's not that opposites attract, but actually it's the unity or the other part of you that God's bringing to you to make perfection. So the
opposites complete.
That's what I'm saying. And I think that's so powerful because you have things she doesn't and vice versa. But as a one, God said that one body becomes one flesh. Now you learn. And that's important because we have to learn how to embrace each other's difference. And that's what married couples have a problem doing, because they want to put you in the mode of what they used to or what they want, instead of understanding if I'm a lily and you're a rose, we can embrace each other's beauty and become the garden. So that I love that you guys brought that about, because it's really not so much as opposite as it is a completeness of you as a whole.
We're not opposites at all. We have much more in common than that. I mean, we really walk in step quite well together. We just have different, biases. It's a yin and a yang that's very positive, and it really is a completion, because I strengthen her in her areas where she's weak and vice versa, and it's really what a marriage and a relationship should be, because we do function as one unit. We're almost never ever separated, unless she has to go to work.
Right.
She works in the entertainment industry. Any other time if she's not there, we're together. I mean, if we're going someplace and we're going to an event and she's wearing like 5-inch spike heels and her feet are hurting, I say, hey, let me drop you off the curb. I'll come around and meet you. No, I got to go with you. Even if we have to walk 3 or 4 blocks. I mean, we're just always like together.
That's true.
Because we complete each other, and it's the way we want to be. Most of our friends now are mutual friends, and we just really are stuck all under each other.
I miss him the moment I step away from him.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it.
I miss him that moment. And that's why I don't let him. I'm like, come on, hon. I'm going to be in the car. When you park the car, we're going to get out and walk together. I appreciate you thinking of me in my high heels and want to drop me in front, but I don't feel right being in front. I want to be right on his side as his queen. So I don't like that, but he's always offering to do that.
This old school, high school love right here, boy.
So tell us, Tim.
But it's the truth.
Yes. Tell us, Tim, about your experience. Okay, like she said, you were on there since The Secret of Chinese Ancient Chinese Secret on Tinder, but it was that time that she came on there. Now, all these other women, because everybody wants to know this, and I don't think there's no secret answer to it, but just to know, like, this is something about this. Did you just find that after you went and sat in front of her for that first date, or did you get a little something? What was your thoughts when you had that light connection on Tinder?
All right. Well, starting back to my Tinder history, I was very specific.
Mm-hmm.
As I told you, there's women I just wouldn't even give the time of day to. And I saw so many posts of women, trying to indicate their frisky side. I'm like, not interested. Um, when I saw her picture, I was thumbing through, and I spent a lot of time on Tinder because it became an interesting curiosity for me because I would look and I would swipe and swipe and swipe and swipe and swipe, and every once in a while, like maybe every 100 swipes, I find a black girl. I'm like, oh wow, black one, not her, not her, and then I just keep swiping, and every once in a while, I find one that looked like she didn't belong there, and that's the one I zeroed in on.
Wow.
The ones that were different than all the other ones. And I met a few interesting people, but I'm a very opinionated, person with a very big public persona. I say what I feel. I like to rattle people's cage and make them think. And so a lot of people, until they get to know me, they actually think I'm a bit of a rogue.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't realize that's so far from the truth. If you know me in person or talk to my beautiful wife,
He's a puppy.
I'm nothing like the public persona I present to try to rattle people and to learn from them so I can try to find ways to help them through creating media that addresses their misunderstandings about how life should be. So some of them would read my page and be like, oh my God, look at what you said on Facebook. I can never date you. What would my friends think? I'm like, bye-bye. I said, when the right woman comes along, she'll understand me exactly for who I am and accept me for who I am and help me to help others. And that's this one.
Wow.
And I didn't even know. I wasn't a big Facebook person, so I hadn't a clue about any of Tim's involvement on Facebook and all of his viewpoints. And so when I discovered that and heard about that, I would question him about his viewpoints. And that was just great conversation for us as we got to know each other.
And shortly after we met, I'll get back to what the first thing was like. But shortly after we met, I had a radio show I called the Thursday Show.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, was it a humdinger. I mean, I would hit boom.
Mm-hmm.
And Karen went with me to the show to watch me tape. And I said, hey, I want you to get on camera with me. And boom, boom, boom. She jumped in. She was like, I don't know what to say. I don't want to be here. And boy, at the end of the show, I usually close the show out. She was so on a roll. She sounded just like a female me.
Oh.
And I just crossed my arms and said, hey. And she just took it all the way out. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. I can roll with this one.
Wow.
And we've been rolling ever since. And our goal is to use our lives as an open book, as a living example of getting it right after getting it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
She got it right the first time. Her first husband was an amazing man. He was everything he should have been for her.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he died after only 2 years of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
30 years later, after kissing only a few frogs, she met me. And, it was something that was very timely and needed by both of us because both of our fathers had died about a month apart from each other.
Yeah.
Both of our dogs had died about a month apart from each other, and
It's weird.
I am emotionally stronger, but she was really going through. This one is a hardcore daddy's girl. Until the day her daddy died, that was her dude. And in the old traditional way of the way a woman left her father's house was handed over to a man, she had a void. And she also had a lot of frustration and different things she was going through. So God really put us together at the right time because we needed each other. And I also needed the right woman in my life so I can model what proper manhood is for my sons. That was a huge concern for me. I'm like, my sons will never learn how to be a man unless I show them how a man treats a woman. But it's got to be that right woman and a woman who loves them and respects them because I wanted to create a family. And that's what God has allowed to happen through this woman.
Right.
So when I first met her, we talked on the phone a pretty good while, and I think we talked again. We tried to get together. It didn't quite work out. And she got an attitude.
Why she get
Because
an
I was in the
attitude?
process of elimination. For me, I said, you know what? I didn't want to go online. I didn't want to do this online dating. So
I
today
almost
is the
got
day
axed.
that I have to eliminate some of these guys and just do it my way. Even though my girlfriend was, you know, I did what she said. I kept my end of the bargain. I gave it a shot. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to eliminate this one here.
Okay, back to my story.
Yeah.
She was gonna.
You had yours.
So okay,
Anyway, she tried to give me the axe.
right.
And she didn't just try to give me the axe. I'm talking about monster mega attitude from the she was on fire. So I'm like, I found her intriguing.
Well, what was the fire about?
Well, she was telling me how, you know, my daddy raised me, and when you're supposed to be here and we're supposed to get together, it's supposed to happen, boom, boom, boom. And I'm
Like,
used to
you don't
I'm
call
used
me
to
at the
men
last
picking me up in a
minute.
limousine and
Thank
blah
you.
blah 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 blah.
You don't
And
call
don't
me
you
at
know
the
who
last
I
minute
am? And
to
I
try
don't deal with no stuff like that.
to try to get to invite me to a coffee shop or a date. You call me if you want to see me on Saturday. You call me by Wednesday. You
In
don't
case
call
you can't
me.
tell, she's feisty.
Yes, you do not
That's what
call
you
me
love.
on. Thank you. You don't call me on a Thursday or Friday and say, "Hey, what are you doing? You want to hang out?" No, I don't go for that.
Uh-oh, she said
Yeah.
her
So
thing.
anyway,
That's
after she bit my head off
Yes.
and told me I didn't need to call her anymore, I said, "Look, we met online. We had a good conversation, and we are going to meet. Now, I'm sorry, didn't work out. I got busy. Get over it. We're going to meet." And she kind of got quiet, and I think she's like,
like,
just told me. So anyway.
Well, I didn't want to be an afterthought either, because let me correct you. You said
Oh, correct me.
exactly. You said, I just finished editing and now I have some time. So, you just think of me now because you just finished doing
A
something?
man's got work to do, okay?
Yeah. Well, it's just the way you said it. So I kind of felt sorry for him. So I said, let me go and have coffee with this dude.
right.
Oh, it was a mercy date. Anyway, so I happened to be driving around with nothing to do at that moment because I wasn't editing, and I was over the hill on her side of town.
That's
No,
true.
I wasn't. Yeah, I was kind of
you
close.
were.
And I said, "Hey, let me call this chick and see if she's gonna act right tonight."
Well, we met at Coffee Bean.
Yes. So I said, I said, "Hey, how would you?" I was a little nicer then, a little nicer. I said, "Hey, how would you like to meet at Coffee Bean? I got some time on my hands." And surprisingly, she said, "Yeah." And I said, either I'm gonna like her or I'm not.
Right.
I said, but I had to meet this one because she's a little special.
Listen,
So.
a little feisty, a little spicy.
And impressions are very important to women, at least I know for myself. So it's not like Timmy didn't come like in a sweatsuit. Tim came in jeans and a nice little blazer and collared shirt. And I was like, oh, sukiyaki. So I was
My
like,
FUBU shirt was dirty.
I was like, at least he took some time and effort. It wasn't like I'll just throw on anything to just go meet her for, you know, a cup of tea or coffee. So I kind of like that. So right away when I first saw that, my impression was, okay, I could sit here and talk to this guy. So guys need to remember that too, because a woman's going to visually for that second, especially when it's your first meeting and it's almost like a blind date, you're going to look and say, did he take any time to think about anything? Or did he just like throw on a baseball cap and some sweats and says, hey, here I am?
Yep. So I saw her. She was really a little itty bitty little cutesy thing, little tiny thing, and big personality, big presence. And I said, wow, I like her. I said, I can roll with that.
Were you nervous? I mean,
first,
was there any time that you had the butterflies, or you got? I mean, what was it, or did you always feel a peace, or what was that?
I don't get butterflies. I'm cool.
Well, no
You
butterflies
were
for
nervous,
you.
son.
What?
Yeah, you were nervous. Yep.
Come
I could tell. Now that I know you, and I've been married to you for over a year, you were nervous. Because he has long eyelashes.
What did I do?
Your eyelashes, you have long eyelashes, they would flutter a lot. They did. And when you would ask me a question, you would look down first and then you'd look up So the psychology of that. So I knew you were a little nervous. You didn't give me the direct eye contact until after it came out of your mouth.
I was trying not to stare. She was kind of fine.
Well, the point is he was nervous. And what's really something is he was nervous, but he was still such a great gentleman that I was like surprised myself that I was actually enjoying the whole meeting. When at first I had the attitude and I was going to ask him. So I was like, oh, I have to reroute my thinking now.
When she met her brother, she got nice quick.
But what was the conversation? I mean, what kind of conversation did you start off with? Was it just really just sharing about?
Well, it shifted because what she was doing, I understand now, is she was being a bit of a brat on the phone purposely.
See if I could get rid of you.
Because she was trying to get rid of me. And that was her acid test. And all she did was kind of like brag and pop off about what she did and who she knew. I'm like, yeah. She's in the entertainment industry. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm in it too, biggie, whatever. And so it was a little monotonous, but I said, there's something more in here. And if I can get past this thing that I want to find out who she is. And so I persevered. And what I can say that I really respect about her is she didn't just make herself overly easily available. You know, she made me really kind of, work to get in there a little bit and show that I had more substance than just trying to get some booty. And after that first meeting, I'm like, yeah, I like her. So I think maybe 2 days later, we got together again in the same place.
Yes.
And I told her that she was the one, and she thought I was crazy.
I thought he was nuts. Absolutely nuts.
I literally took her.
But how do you?
And that was.
Let me ask Karen, because I love what he said, it's like you didn't just let him, he had to work for it. So if you were talking to the young women,
I didn't have to work long.
If you were talking to the young women or those women that's looking for, or waiting for that right one to come, I like how you put your standards up, you let him know, look, hey,
my standards were high.
Look, it's all about a woman thing right now, Of course, yours is high because you have Karen, trust me. But it's easy for the man in some sense, but us women, we have to, because like she said, you were a daughter, your daddy's little girl, and that's beautiful too, because you were able to
That's what was
learn
attractive
some of
about
those
her.
things.
Well, I thought about, would this be the type of gentleman that I would to introduce to my dad, and would, how would my dad perceive him? What kind of questions would my dad ask him? And also, from the way that I was raised, my dad always taught me the right way a gentleman should treat a lady. So I would watch him. I would literally, when I would make him work, I would see, is he going to pull out the chair for me? Is he going to do like little minor things?
Yes.
Open a car door. That doesn't take away anything from a guy being a true gentleman. I respect that. And I say, thank you. Thank you for doing that. You have to acknowledge, because a lot of times women don't acknowledge the kind gestures that men are doing, or they attempt to do it. And the woman is automatically, I don't need you to do that. I'm an independent woman. Well, I'm an independent woman, but I would love for my king to open the door.
Yes.
And to, pull out the chair if we're seated at a table in a restaurant or a coffee shop. So it's those little things I would watch. He walked me to my car. He made sure I got in my car, and then he said goodbye. And I felt great. There was no kissing. All he did was give me a hug, which I thought was great. A nice little hug. It was nice meeting you. And that was it. That was it. And I liked that. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm like all over me or groping me or trying to insinuate anything sexual, because lo and behold, this was our first meeting. And it's like, I didn't even get to tell him yet that that's not happening unless I'm married. So, it's little things like that. And I think he picked up, there's a different sense about a woman who is secure and feels good and has standards, and is not going to be like, hey, here I am, come and get it. Or,
well, both of us said on Tinder that we weren't looking for a hookup. We made it clear we weren't looking for a hookup.
So you were a true gentleman, though, but I really loved and admired that in every sense of the word.
Yeah, thank you.
That you were a true gentleman.
Thank you.
And also how he related to the, when we ordered, if a guy is mean to a server, then that's not a person that I
Right.
would want to, because, it's those little innuendos that you have to look for as women when you're choosing someone.
Let me ask you a question,
Yeah.
Tim. How did, because
Mm-hmm.
you know how you came out of a relationship, well, you got a divorce, and it was the healing that you had to go through. And so, and then you had made that decision, I want to do it God's way. I'm going to keep myself. When was it that you knew that it was time, or you were ready to go and have another relationship?
Well, I had made a number of attempts over that 8-year period.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the short-lived marriage I had, there wasn't really much going on for the last year and a half of it. So I got over it in some ways very easy, and in other ways it had left a little scar that was maybe deeper than I really want to look at directly. So I'd say after about 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
then I was really, looking for a good replacement. I had a couple of semi-major relationships and a couple of semi-minor ones, but it always was apparent to me that that wasn't it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I moved on. My sons had to go along for the ride, kind of like the courtship of Eddie's father, a show from a long time back. Because part of the process of being a father is they have to learn how to try, and if it doesn't work, pull back and then go try again. Um, and they were very, very happy to see me find Karen. They were happy for me because they can tell I was happier. They knew that she completed me, and they knew that she completed our family. And they're amazingly perceptive. I completely disagree with parents who say, I'm not going to date anybody until my kids are 18.
Mm-hmm.
How the heck would they know what to do when they're 18 if you never showed them?
Right.
Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
What
That's
in the
true.
world would they possibly know when they get out in that rough, crazy, wild world and try to deal with the opposite sex or same sex, whatever they like, if they have no clue how to look, try, say that's not right, pull back, get over it, go try again. And then when they finally get somebody, sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong, you argue, how do you go about making up? Boom, boom, boom. These are what the lessons that parents are supposed to teach. You don't coddle children and send them out in the lion's den.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Well, tell them the
So,
importance.
huh?
Tell them the importance, because that's a very important topic about when you're having children, and then, and getting ready to date or see if this person will be the right fit for the family. And a lot of people need to know that, because it's nothing like picking the wrong person and then your children are being neglected or feeling
Yeah.
they're not a part.
That was a very important thing for me.
Yes.
Karen does not have children and was not going to have children. And this one, made it clear she did not date men with children. Didn't you say that?
Yeah, because I
That
have
one.
in the past. I have in the past.
I'm not dating a man with children. Nope, 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 ain't happening. I had 2 of them, and they were 6, 7,
Yeah,
7.
7.
And early on, she was not doing good adjusting to the children. She thought they were cute and they were great, but it's like, you know, they're touching things, they make noise, they move something, they, you know, and so I decided that I had to see if she was going to be able to make the adjustment.
Hyperactive.
The last thing I was going to do was have my kids grow up with stories about the evil stepmother who never liked them and who mistreated them and blah blah blah. So I suggested that we move in together for the sole reason of seeing if she could adjust to being a mother. So I had the boys start calling her mother, which drove her crazy at first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not their mother. Blah, 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 blah. I said, you're gonna be. We're gonna be together. And well, I'm the stepmother. No step nothing. You're gonna be mama. And so now they call her mama and they call their mother other mother. When they're over there, they call her mama and call Karen other mother. and they see them exactly the same. So it took some work, and it didn't look promising at first. But I had to really do a lot of work as a man who loved my children, and as a man who was completely in love with this woman that I just met, of bridging the gap and teaching her how to be a parent, teaching her how to be patient, and just all the things that were necessary to get us to where we are now. And now it is bliss. So we were together for, I guess, a good 9 months, living in the same house, no sex.
Now, how did you do that? I'm sure.
How did I do that?
I mean, was there two separate rooms? I mean, really?
It was easy.
No. We laid right next to each other. We said we're not going to do that.
Nope.
Very
not doing
very
it.
good
Yeah.
discipline. Very good.
Now, I'm not going to suggest that most people tried that, but I had to make sure this was going to be a mother for my children. That was going to be a positive impact in their life, because I have a responsibility as a father. I want love, but I also have a responsibility as a father. I'm equally responsible to my wife and to my sons. And one thing that I made a pledge to my wife: I will never put my sons in front of you or pit you against each other. It's man, woman, and children. The children are going to leave. This one I'm stuck with. So she's not second string to anybody. I love my sons, but all that, no, my kids come before you. My kids are here first. Well, that's stupid too. Your spouse, but it has to be a healthy balance. Everybody's equally as important, but you have to have everybody in the right compartment as to where they belong, and make sure that everybody's treating everybody with respect.
Right.
So now they love each other tremendously. I mean, it's all hugs and kisses, and she's the one on the floor watching TV.
You would never know that, Karen. I mean, and Tim, you would never know that was a pressing or a challenge that you had encountered, just looking at, from the outside and so forth. And these are the important things that the audience need to know, because a lot of times they go picture perfect. And they think like, oh,
Right.
wow, it was always great, and you just blend in. And
No.
Yeah, she wasn't like, oh, wow, I just love these kids, and I have maternal instincts and want to be a mom.
The kids were adorable. I just never been around two twins. Boys they're very, very hyperactive. 1 minute they're, boys, they're just boys being boys, roughhousing and playing, and then the next minute fighting, and then, it was just like a major shock to me, all at once in my,
It was
and
a life shift, and I understood that.
And that was an adjustment that I had to get used
to. Someone says, please elaborate why kids don't come first.
Okay. All right, let's deal with that. My sons do not in any way feel like they're not loved, appreciated, and get everything they have coming. But they thoroughly understand that my wife is my heart, and I'm one with my wife. They thoroughly understand that I'm raising them to go out and conquer the world and be their own people. My wife has priority. If she wants to do something, if she whatever, it's all about what mama wants. And when the boys understand, and they love it. There's no conflict. There's no challenge for or struggle for power or for attention. None of that. Because a good man, when he picks a good woman, he knows how to give everybody everything they have coming. And you're one flesh with your wife. The Bible never said you're one flesh with your kids.
Right. That's it. That's it.
That's
right
true.
there.
And what happens is when Tim does say, what do I want? I, as a woman and a new mom, I always take that into consideration. Of course, the boys. So if he says, okay, what do you want for dinner? And if I'm not cooking, I don't just say, oh, I feel like this, knowing they may not like that particular food or may not want it. I always open it up for discussion and say, hey, I feel like this. What do you guys feel like? And we do like a family vote. And they love that, because when we do it that way, then they come back and they say, but whatever you want, Mama, whatever you want. And I say, no, I want what you want. So I may not want pizza. It's not healthy, but I know kids love it, and Timmy definitely loves it.
And they
so I do
her.
it. Right. I say, okay, it's pizza night, guys. Everybody can have pizza, and so it works out. So I make those compromises too to make sure they're happy and they're not feeling neglected, or I'm here with their dad, and they had their dad, all these years of their life, and they were able to just have whatever they want. So I always take that in consideration, make it a family thing.
They feel like she's an addition to us, and they in no way feel like she subtracts from them.
And that's
they
important.
adore her. They cater to her.
Yes.
I mean, they try to do everything they can to please her, and it's such a natural thing. And when we're out in public, people say, "Oh, your kids, she just beamed just like she gave birth to them." Oh, your mother, your kids, and she just mama. And it's really amazing and beautiful to see her in this role, and now, gleefully wearing the title of mother. Because at first she's like, "No, I'm not mother. They're not gonna call me mother. No, they can call me Karen." I'm like, "No, they're not gonna call you Karen.
I love that you did that.
They're not gonna call you Karen. They're gonna call you Mama."
But I wanted them to call me Karen out of respect for their birth mother, which is their true mother. So that's why I didn't want to have that title. If I can explain why I didn't want to be called mom, because I am just a stepmom, but I didn't want to take anything away from their real mother.
The real mother didn't have any problems with that. She said, "Whoever's doing the job is Mama," and that's something I knew from way back when, because their birth mother had two sisters, had a sister and a brother, and they were all from different parents, and and she was bounced around. So to her, whoever's doing the job is Mama. So that was never an issue. It was really an issue on her part, which I had to keep telling her over and over that it's not a problem, and it never has been a problem. But she had people telling her, you got to watch out for ex-wives, and they're gonna this, and they're gonna that. She believed all the hype, and she was all girded up for a fight. I'm like, she ain't gonna fight with you. She's gonna be glad that you're here to help, with the boys when she's not there, because we have them half the week. She has them half the week.
Well,
So,
I love how you put everything in perspective like that. And just to speak to those who are going into these type of situations that, like a stepmom and stepdad, I like how you said no. Forget
you
the
don't
step.
say step.
There's no
No,
step.
new mom, new mom.
You make those children even feel a certain kind of way. And even looking at how Karen felt, a lot of other women can feel that way, feeling like, well, I don't want to take away or disrespect the mother. And these are the things that I really believe, like the man of the house, like you did, you like, look, you know what? This is a situation we're dealing with right now. You are the mom in this home, and making it known. And even if the children's other mom did not like that, it still was something that you were like, but this is the way it has to be, because you are really accountable for that. And I like what Scott here said too about answering the question about, it's very important that, hey, it's the husband and wife, because like you said, only you guys become that one flesh, and those kids will be gone. So understanding the balance that you have in a household, understanding how to mesh those potatoes. And I love the way you guys did that. It takes time. And as people, you guys can see, it's a process. And especially when we don't do it God's way in the beginning, now we have children by other people. So that means that, guess what? When we get married, now we got to deal with a father or a mother outside of our home. And now we got to make it work so that everybody, especially to the children as well as the marriage, so that it can be healthy.
Yes. So when my ex-wife chose to leave our marriage, it was not a mutual decision. And we had to go to court and fight, and we split it right down the week, 50-50. She does not have a choice in how this side of the house is run. And I'm not saying that in an adversarial way, but I had to help Karen to understand that when the boys are here, then this is a completely, and they flip the switch effortlessly. They walk down the stairs and say, "Bye, Mom," and get in the car and say, "Hi, Mom." And they flip the switch effortlessly. They are just as happy, but they really like it here because they feel that complete mother, father, the whole family thing. They love their birth mother, but they also, it's like, there's my dad, there's my other mother, and they are just completely happy. So I wanted to make sure that they got the full family experience. We sit down and eat together and pray together and play together. We're studying filmmaking together. I'm teaching my wife and my sons how to operate camera. They're going to learn how to do sound, learn how to edit. So, we're like the first family of film, where all of us can get on. You know, so we do a lot of things together. We hang out, we play, we shoot each other with water guns. I mean, you know, we're a family.
Yes, I
And
commend you, Karen. I really commend you with that, being that hard potato and becoming soft in that situation and dealing with the process until it became perfect, working the things out. And that's a beautiful thing. Such a beautiful
you know, your mashed potato concept just
Yeah, it
became a
wasn't.
reality.
Yeah, it
We were
wasn't easy.
two hard, dirty potatoes,
thing.
you know,
Mhm.
sitting on two different trays,
Yep.
and we got boiled and mashed and smushed and became one nice, creamy,
Ooh, I
you know,
Fluffy.
know.
fluffy pot of potato. So, you know, now that
Yummy.
analogy makes sense
Yeah,
to
yummy.
me.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
So yeah, we're thoroughly mashed now,
Yeah,
you
we're
know, with
mashed.
butter and little pepper.
Ooh, and oh, don't forget the parsley. My sister told me the
Yes,
parsley
I
on
was just,
top.
that's right.
But let
Definitely
me,
parsley.
I would like to hit this because I think this is really important about the children since this is where we are. Because there's a lot of children that feel abandoned, okay? And thank God that was not in your situation or even, and, and I'm sure the children probably felt a little funny at first because they're young, they don't know how to receive it, they don't know how to, it's an uncomfortable place at first because everybody's starting to try to get together and make that mash, right? So how do you talk to those about, children that feel like, well, this person's now taking my place? Because sometimes they think that and feel abandoned. How do you make them feel like a part, so engraved into it that now it's just natural?
I don't know if it's just the individual people, but
Mm-hmm.
I never had that problem
Mm-hmm.
ever. I don't think they ever. I mean, well, let me think. Maybe initially
The initial,
a
I
little
think,
bit,
because they don't know.
but
They don't know
they saw
Karen
me.
first.
They saw me do the work.
Okay.
They knew that this was something very important to me, and they really wanted to see their daddy married and happy.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw that there was also the challenge of her adjusting to even being with me, not just the kids.
Right.
And you know, we are two different people as well. So they were able to reflect that I did do the work to make a good bond between me and her, as well as do the work to make a good bond between her and them. And they saw it as very mutual and neutral and just a process that has to be done. I believe these boys are now extremely prepared for relationships and life because they know how to be diplomatic, they know how to hold their ground, they know how to be logical, and how to guide a situation to a good place.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I did have to really, you know, be the man
Yes.
and really provide, you know, guidance and direction. I let her know that, you know, I'm the man in this relationship, and you know, I'm going to run this relationship with everybody's best interest in mind. Now what that means is everybody's best interest is her best interest.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Mhm. That is true. That's what he said.
I bias everything around her, so I get plenty of points. So when I finally have to step in and say no, we ain't doing it that way, then you know, she understands that everything is about you, but every once in a while, you know, I'm gonna say no, it ain't going that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I let her make all the small and medium ticket decisions, and every once in a while, I come in and make the major ones, and she respects that. I think that's a balance it should be. I'm here for the structure of this family. She's here for the details of the family.
Oh,
Mhm.
I love that.
That's not my problem.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know, she manages the house and she can have anything any way she wants it. And sometimes she gets frustrated and she comes to me and she'll tell me, I said, baby, you don't have to say all that. Just tell me what you want. I
Mm-hmm.
said, whatever you want, you got it. You already know that. And but every once in a while, well, I wanted to know, no, that one we're not going to do. We got to go this way. And you know, she hunkers down, and you know, we may have to talk about it a little bit, maybe not, but she trusts me now, and she had to learn to relinquish her trust after being alone for 30 years. You know, living by herself, making her own money, doing her thing her way, and you know, and watching Sex and the City
Oh, please stop that. You know what? It's really a
and
major
Olivia Pope,
adjustment. It's a major adjustment for any
Yeah.
woman that's been single for many years
and I
uh,
accept that. Yeah, it is.
to just even enter in a relationship of marriage. So right there, you have that dynamic just getting to know
especially with the old school
your
guy.
spouse.
I'm a 1960 kind of guy.
You know, likes, dislikes, living arrangements, etc. Then you bring in 2 kids in the mix, and as adorable and as sweet as they are, just, you know, because I also felt like an outsider, you know,
Yeah.
but no one
3
realized
guys
that
ganged up on her. Yeah.
because there's
Okay.
just 3 guys and I'm the only female.
And she had to compromise for all 3 of us, and it wasn't just us compromising for her. It went in both directions.
It went in both ways. So I mean, the adjustment of marriage, then getting to more familiar with my husband, then 2 kids that come every weekend. It was a lot, and I'm gonna say it
sometimes
was
she wanted
not
to enjoy
easy.
me by herself and not
It
and
wasn't.
not share.
Yeah, it was an adjustment of major sharing, and then a lot of times there's things that you do want to do, quote unquote, on a weekend, and I couldn't understand. Well, why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? Why can't you make the arrangements where it's every other weekend or something? So it was a lot of adjustment, and it wasn't easy, and I'm gonna be honest, it was very hard because
And I felt sorry for her sometimes. I know it was hard.
because listen, I've lived in this townhouse by myself for many years, and everything is the way I chose it to be.
I lived in a studio with the boys, and I said, you know, I'm gonna leave my studio, and we moved in with her, so it was on her turf.
Right. And so it's like, if I have something here on my coffee table and I come home and it's broken and they're afraid to tell me, which has happened more than once, I'm
maybe twice.
I'm going to get angry. I'm sorry, because you know what? You came into my life, but you don't understand that that might be something like something that maybe you gave me, Zion, or a relative or whatever, because I look at
They
things
didn't
as
do it on purpose.
I know
Things
kids
right.
never do things on purpose, but the bottom line was just that whole adjustment of learning that.
Yes,
So,
adjustment.
and then you're in a new marriage. Everything is new. So you're still learning your significant other, your spouse, likes, dislikes, habits.
And what I, as a man, had to help her to understand is life happens. Kids are kids. They're young, they're immature, they're playful. They're not trying to do you any harm.
No.
Sometimes things happen, and you can't crush their spirit. You have to just say, hey, you know, it's okay. Okay, we'll get another one, and just kind of, you know, move on. And she's learned that so beautifully, and now she's so gracious in situations that would have literally drove her up a tree. You know, now she just fluffed it off,
So
and
she
it's
learned
actually made her
patience,
a better person.
endurance.
You know.
And I love this because, as you said, that I see her being in that hot boiling, okay, water, but you're outside of the pot because you knew more about it because you have the children. And as she was learning, you were patient with her and you were sharing with her and explaining to her how it is. And you know what I mean? But the beautiful thing about this all too, Karen, is that you were, even though you were going through the trying times and the challenges or whatever, you loved him enough to even be submissive. So talk to the women about being submissive. I mean, because that, you are independent, you are doing your own thing, you know what I mean? You have been single for a very long time. Now you put in it, and it's like, I love this guy and he got these kids. Oh my gosh, are you serious?
And one other thing I'd like to add for her to address, at times she felt forced to be a mother and forced to have these kids. And she did kind of, at a moment, feel a bit resentful and angered and pressured because I didn't want to sign on for this. I just wanted a man.
Right.
And now here you are bringing these kids into my life, and it's either take all of you or none of you. You know, and I want you, but I didn't sign up for this.
The package.
So that was something that she had to contend with. And my God, it's so amazing now that she's on the other side of it.
Wow.
But yeah, tell them how hard that was.
Okay, well, before that, Scott asked a question about disciplining the children. Well, actually, I'm very blessed, Scott, because Alan and Brandon really don't need much discipline. I mean, every now and then they have a little minor disagreement about a toy, and basically we let them work it out. And I usually tell them, if you can't work it out, well, let's take it to your dad and let him deal with it and work it out, because and basically they've been fine with that. So as far as disciplining them, they really haven't.
It's almost effortless.
It's effortlessly. So there is no discussion, because he also asked in terms with dealing with the other mother with discipline.
And there's no problem there.
There is no problem there, because she even told me one day, she says, if Brandon keeps wearing shorts, make him wear his long pants. So I often say to him sometimes, Brandon, you know, it's really cold outside right now. You should have on your long pants. And your other mother wants you to wear them as well. And they do it. They just say, okay, mom. And they go and do it. So it's never really, that's never really a problem. But it was a struggle. And I sure wouldn't want to do it again. For the adjustments are never easy for me. As my personality and my DNA, I'm the type of person, I like making lists, and I like to know I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to maybe waver a little bit and do this and that.
If she's going someplace, she has to go online and literally find where the parking place is.
I
She
want to
won't go
know.
any place unless she knows she can park before she gets there. Otherwise, it just isn't right. She
Just,
is so structured.
Yeah, so I get really anal about that. So the bottom line for me, that's another reason why it was so difficult.
I'm trying to loosen her analness up.
Right. Well, it's definitely been loosened, dear. So the thing is I had to just,
no sexual reference.
I had to come to terms with just, you know, let go. I would just pray. I would just go within. I would just let go and say, God's in charge. It's going to work out.
Are you happier now?
I just have to trust. And I had complete faith. My husband always had my back, knew what I was doing. And also, if one of the kids even mumble or try to be sassy, he has corrected them.
And I rescued them from each other.
So
at times when she would get overbearing and kind of go, I'm like, no, you got to calm down. And when they ever dare say anything back to her, I bite their heads off. So I'm traffic cop. I had to make sure that I kept them from doing it to each other.
Right.
Until they had the proper level of respect. I said, everybody in this house is going to respect each other.
That's awesome.
Equally in every direction. From you to her, from her to you, and from me to you, and from me to her. Everybody is going to respect each other and talk to each other decently and not snap and not scream and always cooperate. If anybody in this house asks anybody to do anything, you just do it. There is no, I don't feel like it, I don't want to, I got to think about it. No, we are completely committed to each other, all of us. When we got married, there were 4 people up there besides the minister. Her, me, and the 2 boys. She married 3 men that day.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you another thing that Tim and I do. Tim we have this class that we have on Saturdays with the kids, and it's a 15-minute class. And the first class is called Home Economics. And in that class, I discuss what I like and why I like it and why they need to know it to make them better men as they grow up to be the men that they're meant to be.
Well, there are many things about the house.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
standards.
And then Tim teaches the family standards, which is like a 10-minute thing of everybody needs to respect everybody. So we do these little reminder things, and it's become fun in a game, and they actually look forward to it. And when we don't have it, everyone kind of misses it. So instead, way back in the early part of our relationship, if someone did something that I didn't like and it would get me upset, I have a tendency like, oh my God, and like freak out and raise my voice. Now I have learned through my husband and the grace of God, I just say, hey guys, why did you leave your shoes there? And I just ask in a nice, calm voice like that. They all jump up. Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. Let me move them. And it's done. So I have to learn different techniques, and that's the submissiveness that you have to come into, whether it's in you, but you have to just be ready to release it and go with it and find
really good stuff, baby.
Yeah, well,
you should
honey,
teach a class.
Yeah, you should teach a class. So the thing is you have to find it, and that's really all it's about, is reconnecting with yourself. And I only was able to reconnect with myself because I took time to be with myself and to go within and listen to God.
Yeah, and that right there was the root of everything, because you guys had that same, the common denominator, which is God, and your household. You made sure everything was in order, your husband being the head of the house, and him putting things in order. And what was really important was everyone was involved. You know, your husband, he was involved with you and the kids, understanding how you felt and what you needed, and the kids as well. Then you involved yourself by participating and being open to surrender and to learn. So it is like this process, everyone has to get involved, especially when you have family or you having children that's in the part as well. Like he said, you married 3 people that day, you know, and you was only looking for one.
That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
I used to pray every night to God, just bring me that divine king. And I think I told you that when it didn't happen, instead of being disappointed or frustrated, I would then say my prayer to God, where I'd say, thank you, Lord, I am one day closer to meeting my divine king. So I made it a positive. And I just said, check that day off on the calendar, because tomorrow could be the day where I meet that divine man. Mm-hmm. So it's how you look at something. Instead of looking at it negatively, I looked at it positively, like I'm a step closer. I'm more in tune with myself. I am ready and right. And God will have him cross my path at the right time, because God's timing is always perfect timing.
Yes, and I love how you said that, because I had that question, is how do a person supposed to be thinking? If you really looking for God to bring someone in your life, you're being open and available to that perfect gift that God has for you. And you were ready for that, and you were open for that. But not only that, you have prepared yourself mentally, emotionally, making sure. And then even when you felt that you were prepared for that husband, here you get a big surprise with kids that you like, oh my gosh, what's this? You know, you're thinking,
I'm like, what is that?
I know. I didn't prepare for this portion, you know what I mean? So, but
and that's was a surprise. Exactly.
Yes. And so, but being able to be open and available to God's blessings. And the thing is when you have the most important ingredients, which is the love of God in your heart, you're able to do all things are possible with Christ. Is that right?
All things are possible.
So I want you to tell the women, because this is really important, because now you're going through this, your husband, like he said, sometimes he felt it could have been forceful, because it's like these kids are right there for you right now, you know. How was it like dealing with all that and at the same time being submissive? Because that's the big thing there I wanted to really hit for the, you know, the women. It's like how when the man is trying to do all this, and you know, and still at the same time he's showing you love, he's giving you direction, he's showing you about the children, he's making it happen. And then, you know, like you said, it's like I was screaming at first a little bit, and then I learned how to back off. Was it because
a little bit
and calm down?
I know you know, but what was it?
Well, you know what, you have to relinquish your trust. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's surrender. You know, it's not an easy thing, because, you know, one, the media, you see all these independent, successful women, and so you're programmed through the media. Mm-hmm. And then you might be programmed through influence of friends, what have you. But once you see that your man, your king, has the elements of everything that you've always prayed and asked God for, you have to be willing to just open your eyes and step aside yourself. I would tell myself, shut up, I'm getting in my own way. Step out of my way. This man is a king. This man is a leader, and let him lead me, because no matter what he decides, it's going to be to my best interest. It's not like he's going to do something and that it's going to be something that's going to be negative or to my detriment. It's going to be something positive, because I waited all these years, and there's no way, because God knows my heart, that he's going to bring someone in my life after all these years for me to be unhappy and miserable. So even if I don't agree with the decision,
my wife said that. Wow.
Even if I don't agree at the moment, you're welcome, sweetie. The point is, it doesn't matter. He's looking at it from another perspective. I may be seeing it from an emotional standpoint, but he's seeing it from a higher level, unbeknownst to me, but it's all for the greater good, because he is, and I say he is, the priest of the home.
Woo! Go ahead now. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm so proud right now.
King, oh my God.
Doing something right.
You tore that one up, sis. Yeah. I love it.
Thank you.
You know, and see, and you know what's most important to be able to say the things that you just said with the passion and with the fire, it just means that you
I
trust
haven't heard a woman
God
say
that
that
he
before.
brought you the right man. And that's what's important.
Right.
If you feel that you have the wrong man, and how are you going to submit? How are you going to trust him? How are you going to surrender? That relationship that we have with God is so similar to the relationship that we have with our husbands, because truly we have to
Exactly.
trust that this person, you know how when God said, your thoughts are not my thoughts and your ways are not my ways. Well, that's a lot of times how it look with our husband. You know, I'm sure you'd be like,
Right.
well, oh my gosh, I wouldn't do it like that. Oh my God. You know, we can think that they're going to just go off the whole ship. We can all just drown because we didn't see it. But it's like, you know what? I trust God, the God in you. And even if we do fall out, I know that God has some kind of shaft to get us back in there and to roll in another direction in a better way. And that is
And
so
boy,
beautiful that you said that, Karen. Wow. I know you
Thank
up. I
you.
and
think it's
boy,
just some more hairs and growing on your chest or something since she said that, Tim.
and boy, when you talk about trust, we have complete trust in each other. I don't have to worry about nothing. Have you ever wondered if I was creeping around doing something I'm not
Mm-mm.
supposed to do?
It's never entered my mind.
It's complete
Nothing.
trust because we know how committed we are to each other. And we don't police each other. She's not, well, who's she and who you talking to on
And
the
let me
phone?
tell you, Timmy has a lot of female friends. A lot. I didn't even have a clue that he knew so many women. But you know what? They're all amazing, wonderful women. And I'm excited when he says, I want you to meet my friend, blah, blah, blah. So I don't have any issues or any reason to feel like my husband is going to cheat on me, or why does he have so many female friends? I'm not insecure like that. I'm just amazed of how many women that he seems to know, and they're great women. So I approve.
And I actually don't
I
think it's her
approve.
nature
I
to be
approve.
that secure.
Mm.
Knowing her personality, I would think she'd be the type like, who is that? But you know, we are so in because she feels secure because she knows beyond any doubt that she is the absolute
I
center of my
know he
life.
loves me with all of his spirit, soul, and being. So there's no reason for me to be suspicious or to ever even enter that thought of like Tim is doing something behind my back. None whatsoever.
There was a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in 30 something years.
Yeah.
And I was going to go back to visit her family to do some work. And, you know, and by myself, they were going to send for me. And she's like, oh, yeah, go. And she's telling me, make sure you feed him right, blah,
And
blah, blah.
that's exactly what I did. I made sure I got her on the phone and said, my Timmy needs to eat fish and he needs boneless, skinless chicken breast and limit the sugar. He's going to ask for sweets. He can only have a cookie here and there or a piece of cake. Because, and she was like, oh my God, she just loved it.
But
I sent her a whole list.
she wasn't asking, well, who is she? I want to hold her. You ever slept with her? But none of that stuff because she knew she didn't have to. And that is so beautiful and it's so freeing for both of us.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to sit around and wonder about me. I don't have to sit around and wonder about her. When we're gone, we know where each other are. We can't wait to get back together, you know, and it's blissful.
And that's why
a work,
celibacy is important too.
yes, because if I was celibate for 8 years,
Years.
why would she think I'd all of a sudden go out and cheat on her?
And
Doesn't
I
make
Exactly.
was
sense.
celibate for 4
Exactly.
years. So why would that thought ever entertain
Right.
either of our heads? He was 8, I was 4. And that's another thing to look forward to, ladies. If you are celibate, you know, that's something that you want to share on your wedding night. You know?
Old school, old school. Yeah.
Yes.
Just like, you know.
But here's a message to the men.
Mm-hmm.
Men, make sure if you don't do anything else that you make your wife secure.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that she's secure in how much you love her. Make sure that she's secure that you always have her best interest in mind. If you want to do yourself a favor and not go through undue stress and end up in divorce court trying to fight for the few little things you have, make sure that you make your wife feel secure. And that is your responsibility. It's not her responsibility to feel secure on her own, because the world is not a very secure place. So you actually have to do the work. You have to keep reinforcing. You know, I tell her I love her as much as necessary. I tell her everything's going to be all right as much as necessary. When she's stressing, I say, look, you stop stressing, you hand that to me, because that's my problem, not yours. And my job is to make sure that she stays happy, calm, and secure.
And marriage is work. Don't think it's not, but it's loving, good work. It's not like, oh my God, is someone going to boss me around, or am I going to have to change everything about who I am because I met this wonderful person or anything. It's none of that. Marriage is work that you will love doing. I live to please him and make sure he's happy, and vice versa. It's that type of work. We work to make sure each other feels good and secure.
You just heard a woman say that, who in the past, I'm not holding it against her, of course. In the past, she said, "Don't no man tell me what to do.
Exactly.
My father told me that no man's supposed to tell me, and I'm blah, 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 blah." Oh my God, it was completely different. She's like, "I've been living by myself, make my own money."
Yes.
And she used to read me up and down.
And that's
I never thought I'd hear her talk like this.
Right, and that's what you do when you are a female.
Scandal.
Well, not scandal. The point is when you are independent and you're on your own, yes, you have to have that persona. No, you have to have that persona because you only have you to depend on and God. So here you have to relinquish that when a man comes in, if he is your king, and know that you're not losing anything about yourself.
You're gaining a
You're
protector.
gaining. And that's it. It's that transition that we must make as women.
After 30 years, see, I'd been married, 8 years ago, I had sons. I had to learn how to compromise just to be a father, because you have to, like the Bible says, fathers provoke not your sons to wrath, so you have to learn to compromise as a father. She had to compromise with nobody. And then all of a sudden there's 3 people that she had to compromise with. So I felt her pain. And, I couldn't always acquiesce to it because I had work that I had to do. And I have a role and a responsibility to God, to her, to my sons, to this family. And, I also feel I have a burden and a responsibility to model, what manhood and family life should be for the general public, because most people don't have a clue. And if we don't strengthen marriage, the institution is going to die. And I don't know what the future is going to be like if we don't get people to understand what proper, balanced families should be, so we can try to do a better job of making future people. Because this round of people that's going around right now, they're a little different. I'll just leave it there.
Let me ask you this, Timothy. Talk to the men. What's really important, because we have a lot of men. Of course, we know the man is the head of the household. So the men do have the authority, but we do have a lot of men that abuse that authority. And feel like they always have to say, "Well, I'm the man of the house," and and use it in a controlling manner, instead of understanding, like, you being authority, you were basically the main person serving in that relationship. Can you talk to the men and show them what does that word authority mean and how is to use it without abusing it?
Okay. Whew, that's a big one. Now, this is the part that some people aren't going to like. I'm going to tell the absolute truth. I know the answer to that question, but it's not going to be convenient for some people to hear. First of all, most of these men are male figures. A man is a position. A man is an activity. A man is a standard. A male or a guy is something that made it to 18. Most of the men, unfortunately, don't have the advantage I have of being raised by a proper father who was raised by a proper father who was raised by a proper father. So my values are set a bit differently. Now, what women have to realize is some men can be more than the subtotal of what they were raised to be, but most cannot. If we're talking about men, women have to understand a man is who he is. If he puts you first and values you and is honorable and respectful, and even though my wife may have sometimes have been confused by who I was, she got almost a perfect report from almost everybody who knew me for years. And so she had to make a determination, is this somebody who I want to hand my life over to? So, it's very important for a woman to be responsible to herself. If you were to ask all these single mothers who are frustrated because the men don't take care of their children and don't this and don't that, and they're angry about this and that and have babies from multiple people, and if you were to ask them, pull out a picture and show me pictures of all your baby daddies, you'd be shocked. You'd be like, you laid down with that? What in the heck were you thinking? So, if you're irresponsible to yourself, and you irresponsibly lay down with some of the worst men in society and make children with them, that is a responsibility that you breached for yourself and for your children. And one thing I can say about Karen is Karen was very responsible with herself. She made it to 56 years old with no children. And it's not that she wasn't capable of making just like everybody else. But the reason, other women have gone through a lot of changes. Almost every change, and hear me, women, please, almost every change you've ever gone through with a man is after you gave him sex. If you date a guy 3 or 4 times and find out he's a jerk and he's cheating and running around with a bunch of women, you can walk away like, whatever, glad I dodged that bullet. But once you give him some, and the oxytocin and the bonding and all these other things happen, then you feel hurt. Oh, now he doesn't call me. Oh, now I find out he's got another woman. Oh, 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 oh. Karen didn't do that. She said, I'm going to make sure that I'm with the right person, because people don't just get with this. And women are giving away the best thing that they own, the most sacred thing that they have in their whole existence, to rogues and people that don't deserve to lick a dog's butt. And they're giving them the best they have. That is not vaginal responsibility. And you first have to exercise responsibility to you before you can expect somebody to treat you responsibly. And that's what Karen did. I feel privileged out of all the men that she could be with. This woman right here is no joke. Raised well by 2 good parents. She went to Sarah Lawrence University at 16 years old. Sarah Lawrence College at 16 years old. Graduated with a 4.0. Came out to LA at a young age. Did her thing, conquered Hollywood. Her first job was working for Dick Clark, the legendary Dick Clark. She's always been a winner. She's always excelled. She's extremely brilliant. But she needed that special man to cover and protect her. Because as tough as she can be, deep down inside, she still has that, that love for her daddy. And she needs a man who's going to extend what she's used to, which is, I want to feel protected. And women are losing that because now they want to protect themselves. I don't need no man. I can do it all by myself. And they are doing it all by themselves. And it's not the way it's supposed to be. They have to make up their mind. Do you want to do it all by yourself, or do you want to stop saying that and submit to somebody that can help you in life? But you do not submit to somebody that's not worth submitting to.
Right.
It's not just a blanket thing you do just because you're supposed to do it. You're not supposed to do nothing except make sure that you take care of your life so you can take care of the lives of your children by making responsible choices. My mother, Karen's mother, were good women. And we thank both of our mothers for being responsible enough to pick us good fathers. No man has ever made himself a father. It's a woman who births a child into the world that makes that man a father. So she has a huge responsibility in vetting which penises enter her vagina. A penis is a loaded instrument, and it makes a woman's body reproduce. That is not to be taken lightly. So while you complain about how no good your baby daddies are, and you got 3 of them, the common denominator is you laid up under all 3 of them. Mm-hmm. Now, that may sound like a blame. I'm sorry, but it's a reality. And you can either arrest that tendency and teach your children to make better decisions, or before you get into that situation a second or a third time, make better decisions before it's too late. But we have to reverse this process of irresponsibility, because the media tells us everything is okay. Everything is not okay. You can't just jump in and out of bed and just do whatever you want to do and not expect consequences.
Your body is your temple, and so you should choose wisely
and
who you decide to share your body with.
And they're treating their body like it's a nightclub instead of a temple. Your body is not a disco for men's penises to dance around in. I'm sorry. We stand with celibacy. I'm not just telling women don't have sex. Men shouldn't be doing it either until they're married. But, I know this is going to fall on deaf ears for most people because they got to try it out. Well, we didn't try it out, and we are completely happy. Some of y'all tried it out, and you can't stay married for a good year and a half. So trying it out does not make a marriage better. what makes a marriage right is when you really love each other and you do the work and you connect. Even if it ain't no good at all, you still love each other because you love each other. And a marriage is not about sex.
No, because
that's
then
what the
there's
media
those,
teaches us.
Then there's those people that say, well, I'm not going to marry someone that I haven't slept with to try that person out. Well, you know, did you ever think about that's something sacred that you could have on your honeymoon? That's something to aspire and look forward to. I mean, I'm sure if he's a good kisser, then I'm sure he's good in other ways, or you two can mesh together. You know, later you'll know. Right. I mean, it's not like the end of the world. Because there's much more. Marriage is much more than sex.
I'll tell you something else. I wouldn't buy a car if I didn't drive it. Guess what? That's what poor people do. You think rich people go and test drive a car? They say, send it to my house. Here's my credit card number. They drive it when they get it. That's us that got to go drive a little raggedy used car around and make sure it's any good, or we're obsessed with, I got to try it first. When you really have it going on, you say, send me one over to go with the other set that I have. So, it's important to realize that, no, you don't have to try it first. What you need to do is show that person and show yourself how serious you are. Because I'll tell you something. If you can go a year, 4 seasons, not having sex with a person, and all the adjustments and the ups and downs and highs and lows with no makeup sex to smooth out the bumps, and you still want to marry that person, you really love that person, and that person really loves you. But when people have sex early, they lose their ability to really see who the person really is because they're caught up in the physical, and they can no longer vet that person correctly because they're biased. Excuse me. And it's almost like, when you have sex, you become one flesh, and now you've made allotments for that person. Well, they really pissed me off, but boy, when we have sex, it's great. You're in trouble. When my wife pissed me off, or we were trying to get ourselves together, she pissed me off, and I had to deal with it and decide if it was worth it to stay there. And she had to decide if it was worth it to stay with me.
Right.
When we decided it was worth it, we said we're going to get married because it's worth it. So whatever the sex was that we had in Paris, which was quite good, that's what it was. We didn't need to try it out because we tried out our love. And the thing you have to do is you have to try love. You have to try your love and see if it's sincere and intact. You have to try the other person's love, and they have to try your love. And when you do it the right way, that's why sex is supposed to come after marriage as a bonus. And what sex is a bonding agent. Not only does it bond people who marry, because most people could not keep the same friend for 60 years, but a lot of married people have done that. But not only does it bond people who should be together, it also bonds people who shouldn't be together just as much.
Right.
That's why people go through changes up and down with the same idiot. And the idiot runs back and forth and gets other people pregnant. They still have another one of the idiot's babies. Or a guy can hit them in the same eye for 5 years, 10 years, and they're still there because they are addicted to the sex. Because when a man has sex with a woman and she has an orgasm, oxytocin kicks in and bonds her physically, emotionally, and mentally to him for 30 days in between her period. So if he hits it once a month, she is in his tractor beam. She is emotionally stuck up under him. And the only way a lot of women get out of bad relationships is if the guy runs off for a while, or he goes to jail or something, and where she can't be around him until that effect wears off. But then once he comes back in her life, how many times have you seen a woman finally get over an idiot? He comes back, spends the night, hits it, and all of a sudden she thinks she's back in love again. And the same stupid stuff starts all over. That's because women are designed to bond to a man through sex. A man enters her body and leaves a deposit. That's his controlling stick. And it's nothing to play with. So there's 2 problems. Either having sex the wrong way will bond you to the wrong person, or if you have too much sex with too many of the wrong people, you lose your ability to bond to anybody. Because now you have worked against the nature of your oxytocin. And basically, if you have a piece of tape and you stick it on, it sticks really good. You pull it off, maybe you can stick it on a second time. But if you keep sticking it on and pulling it off, sticking it on, it don't stick anymore. And that's what's happening to today's modern women. And that's the reason 80% of the divorces are initiated by women. When I was a kid, women never left men. The men would leave the woman and she would be devastated. Right?
That's true.
And now the women are up and like, I'm sick of this. I don't have to deal with this. because they can't bond because they've had sex with too many people and their body cannot cleave in the natural way that God created it chemically to their mate. That's why sex is called mating, people. Mating. They can no longer stick to a mate.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the trick of Satan by telling people they can have sex whenever they want to because they're free. God's word didn't say that. Who do you follow? God or some people who wrote something for television? That's not the way it works. Please hear me. That is not the way it works. The reason I'm happy and she's happy and so few other people are is most of the people I know who are truly happy in their marriage, they will tell you, whether for religious reasons or other reasons, we waited until we got married. We waited on sex.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it never works the other way, but it's definitely a bumpy ride by the tremendous divorce rate. So either you're going to do it God's way, the way he instructed you, or you're going to do it some other way. And there is no other way except Satan's way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so you got to decide.
You should clarify that we weren't virgins
Right.
before. And you'd had sex, obviously, because
Yeah.
you were married and you had other relationships. I'd had sex before. But the moment that I said, this is it, I am not sleeping with another man
Right.
and it going nowhere, that's when my life started to turn around. So I'm not saying that I was a virgin and I waited my whole life. I don't want anyone to think that before I met my king.
I
No,
definitely wasn't.
no, I had sex. I had boyfriends. I had relationships. But the moment I said, that's not really what I think my divine purpose is. God wants me to be with one person, and I truly want to be with that one person because I had had that previously in my life before, my first husband passed away suddenly. I said, that's it. I'm not going to have sex. So I'll date you. I'll go out with you, but it's not about the physical. It's
And
about getting to know you.
And I was stupid. I got somebody pregnant that I wasn't even in a full proper relationship with. You know, we're messing around doing what we're doing.
Shame on
All
you.
of a sudden she's pregnant, and me trying to be the honorable man. I married her 1 week before she gave birth.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, did I get punished. You know, so yeah, I made my mistake. So I'm not preaching from some high position because I'm one of y'all. I made the same mistake. So I'm qualified to say what I'm saying because I've been on both sides of it. I did it wrong and now I did it right. And we had sex 5 times in a 3-year relationship, none at all for the last year and a half. You know, I had plenty before, but not after. So I said the next woman I have sex with is going to have my last name grafted onto her. I made a vow, I ain't doing that again. I'm too old to keep making the same stupid mistake. Because one thing that I came to realize, everybody I've had sex with, no matter how good it was, I'm not with them. So it must not be working. It may have made me happy at that moment, but I'm not with them. And guess who I'm with? The one I waited with. The one I proved to myself, proved to her, proved to God that I was ready for and sincerely wanted to be with for the right reasons. And not because my lust was leading my brain, my heart, my values, and my commitment to God. And I found a woman that had the same values. And here we are happy, trying to admonish people and share and teach others that there's a better way to be than the group think of popular culture today.
I want to ask you guys a question. When was that first time, just backing up a little bit because I want to go into something else, did you find out that you guys were both saving yourselves and you had that conversation? How did that conversation go?
On the phone pretty much right away.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew, and we had even indicated that in our profiles. We weren't looking for a hookup.
Right.
So that was a very,
You
Right.
were
actually,
definitely
I said,
like
I'm not
we're looking
a
for
hookup.
marriage, and
I
you
had
were
no
very
idea that he.
transparent about that.
oh yeah. And actually, when I meet women in the first conversation, I make sure to let them know I'm celibate. If you need to bail now. Let's not even waste any time. Because, I know what my intentions are. I was looking for a wife. I was not looking for somebody to date, somebody to have fun with, somebody to play with. I wasn't looking for a
I
leg.
love
I wasn't
that.
looking for anything. I was looking for a wife.
Right.
And for me, I just basically said I'm not interested in any hookups. So I didn't tell Tim that I had been celibate for 4 years until I actually, spoke to him on the phone.
Nice. No.
But I didn't put that online. I just put that I am not looking for hookups, and that's it. And then when we had a conversation, I shared that information.
And you know, I had gotten to the early potential of starting some relationships, and then once that was established, I wasn't going to do that. They quickly bailed.
Yeah, so don't
So
mislead someone.
I said, I'm
Tell
not going
them
to waste
right
my
away.
time. If I meet you and we're even talking about anything, I'm going to let you know, hey, I'm celibate, looking for marriage, and I'm not going to do anything until I get married.
Right.
Interested?
And you know, the big question everybody has is, we talked about it before, it's like waiting. And oh my gosh, like you said, it could be good, you know, and you're still not with that person. And a lot of people like, oh, I gotta, you know, try it before I buy it. And just giving them a thought of, look, you know, when you have faith in God, how do you talk to them about just waiting and feeling like, hey, when God sends you that right person, you shouldn't think about all about the sex. Why is it driving you to make your decision on being with someone that you're going to be with the rest of your life, but other things are more important in that relationship?
Well, there's not a lot to say. There's no magic. It's just something that you just have to do. Everybody who stopped smoking said one day they just decided, I'm going to stop and not smoke another one. There's no magic. There's no do this to work yourself down. And when you try to cut down a little at a time, it doesn't work. You just have to stop.
If you stop and reflect and think about every relationship that you've had, good, bad, ugly, whatever, and you figure out each one of these people I slept with, or this happened after I slept with them, or this is the way it was before I slept with them. If you just sit there and make a chart and just review yourself and go within, you'll see that by having sex with that person, you made your judgment was clouded. You made the wrong decision. Okay, he did this, but I forgave him because the sex was good, or I like the way he made me feel. If you just get honest with yourself and be real, you'll see that every time you overlooked, and that's why the relationship may not have worked, besides other issues as well, it's because it involved sex. And one day you'll just get tired and say, you know what? I'm tired of the cycle. I'm ready for something new. I'm ready to be with one person and just to end this whole charade and series of meeting this one, meeting that one, going through the learning process, having sex, not having sex, whatever the case may be. And once you make up your mind and make that commitment, God hears you and you get serious, it's not as long as you think it is.
And that's another thing I meant to say. For every woman who's experienced a man stalking her, you know, harassing her, you know, showing up at her job, and she's sitting by the phone crying, and when is he going to call? And oh my God, I can't believe he's married, and he cheated on me. He's got all these other women, and all these. Usually they had sex with him.
Exactly.
You don't get hurt by men that you don't give your body to. You may get annoyed, you may get disappointed, but you don't get crushed to your soul. Come on. Almost every woman in my voice has experienced extreme pain behind some man that she gave some booty to too early.
And that's why she needs to throw away the key and lock up the vajayjay. Lock it up. Don't unleash it until you meet that right one, because your body is sacred.
Yeah.
You know?
I just met this dude. We were feeling each other. We hung out and it was good. We went back and we did bump, 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 bump. And it was good. And he came over the other night and now I can't find him. Now I feel stupid. Now I'm mad. What? I'm not adequate? Then you got to start questioning yourself and blah, blah, blah. And oh my God, now I haven't had my period. All these changes because you chose to follow the ways of the world and have sex. And use your vagina as a pleasure palace. It is pleasurable with the person you bond with. That is a covenant that God gave to a husband and a wife to smooth out their wrinkles, to reproduce, and to strengthen their connection to each other through a physical means. It is not your birthright because somebody in this modern world of media keeps telling you that it's your body, your choice, and you can do anything you want, and nobody can tell you anything, and you can do it just like a man, and women are free, and this is a new day and a new age, and all the other stuff is old-fashioned, and these Christians are blah, blah, blah. All that's foolishness, and you can see it by the end results. You know a tree by its fruit. If it has oranges on it, it is not an apple tree. it has oranges on it. If your life is miserable after having sex most of the time, then it's not a good idea. And that's what I came to terms with. That is the only magic. Just waking up and saying, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. It doesn't serve me. I'm working against myself and what I really want. If you really want a husband or a wife,
Yes.
you have to decide to wait on one and do the work to find the right person and do the work to prove to you, to prove to them, to prove to yourself, to prove to God that you're ready to be the responsible person you need to be.
Because a man can look at a woman and see immediately in a blink of an eye if she's a keeper. And if she's a keeper, then he's going to make his intentions known. He's not going to string you along. Believe me, trust me in that. Whereas the ones that are like, oh, I'm just having a good time and, I'm still partying and, playing around with different women, they're not going to make their intentions clear to you ever right away. So the thing is, by the time you find out their intentions, you've already slept with them. So, of course, you're going to be hurt. So the reason is, if you don't sleep with them, you can see clearly what their intentions are, and you can know also if he is your king, you can be receptive and open to receiving that blessing from God, because that man is not going to play a game. He's going to tell you right away. And when I say right away, it could be the very first time you meet him.
I've heard that so many times. And I almost told her the first time I met her, but I waited to the second time to tell her.
And even at the second time, I thought he was crazy. But then I had to remember that that's right. I'm dealing with a king here. He's not a little prince that's out there playing the field
Right.
and gathering as many women and babes as he wants. He is serious.
She saw integrity. And
Yes.
she even though she was uncomfortable with it,
uncomfortable.
she had to go with it because she said, I have not seen a better offer. I haven't had a man who came to me so forthright and so direct and laid out his intentions, and and I was everything she wanted, but I was almost everything, but I at the same time I wasn't anything she was looking for.
Right.
I was everything she wanted, but nothing she was looking for.
And that's why sometimes you have to adjust what you think you want, ladies.
Yes.
Because God may bring you something better, but in a different package.
What she wanted was a college-educated man, and I'm a high school dropout. What she wanted was somebody with a big house. I lived in the studio. What she wanted was a man with a six-pack, and I have this. But anyway.
You funny.
And so I wasn't.
Not any more mashed potatoes and gravy for my Timmy.
I know. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
But when women find the right man, they say two things. They almost invariably say, he was not what I was looking for.
He was not what I was looking for at all.
But he was what I needed.
But he was what I needed, and I'm not going to question God.
And they almost always say, when I was younger, there is no way I would have talked to him. Wow. They had to kiss enough frogs, pretty frogs, until they realized that the uglier frog over there maybe sometime was the better frog.
Because always seeking the pretty guy and the one that had the abs and the one that had this and the one
has all the women in the world.
Has all the women in the world doesn't make you feel special and treats you like dirt. Whereas the
it's
true
just another
king,
item.
Right. You're just a little accessory to him. The true king makes himself known to you and will treat you like the queen that you deserve to be.
Where my kings at? Okay, any kings in the house? That's what I'm talking about. The kings.
So praise the kings because they're out there.
And I gotta go there. For all the people who think I'm some angry black man who doesn't like black women and doesn't like women, and have issues with women, and what did your mother do to you, and somebody must have hurt you because I'm opinionated and speak my mind and tell the truth. You have heard this woman right here who ain't stupid.
No.
And she's not placating to me, and she's not under duress. I'm not forcing her to say anything. You've heard who I am.
I speak my own mind.
And boy, does she. But you have heard who I am.
It's a good thing.
And you know yes, a man by the way his wife refers to who he is. You know, you hear a lot of women saying, "Mom, my husband, I'm so sick of him. He da 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 da." That's not what this one says. So a man's character is defined by the woman's.
Okay, if you guys have any questions to ask them, please ask. They're open to asking any questions. I want to ask the big question. This right here, I think, is really juicy. After all that time, You guys, you've been those potatoes started from the beginning, and you guys was boiling like the children and meshing and learning each other's personalities and characters and hey, do I love this person? And it is a bond. It's also a bond that you have when you love someone. The chemistry, it should be greater than the bond that you have just because you're having sex. But that
Yeah.
I believe that root of having God in your life and understanding, if I love this person, this love, if it's not violating me, that unconditional love can make this thing great. The question that I have for you guys is, after you kept yourself and you pressed and praised and you went to that wedding day and you kissed each other and now you're on your honeymoon and now you finally get to make love. Okay, we want to know about that.
Well,
Really, because I
it was
know that's what,
in
because people like,
Paris,
you
in the
got to
city of
travel for
love.
It was
riot,
in
this and
Paris.
that,
It couldn't have been
and
any
you
more
guys
exciting.
waited, and now you're on this honeymoon. I mean, some people could feel like, oh, you'd be nervous, or it's not like you never did it before, but now you have waited.
Right.
I mean, tell me, I guess you could start with the queen first, and then we'll let the king start it, whichever way you guys want to do it. What was your thoughts coming to that point?
I was like, oh my God, I'm finally going to see what this one is all about. If he's all mouth or if he's got something else going on. No, I was, you know what? I was a little nervous, but a good nervous. I mean, the wedding was beautiful, and here we are in Paris, and it was the first night. I was like, it's weird. It's a mix of emotions. It was a potpourri. I was nervous. I was excited. I was also feeling a little bit self-conscious, like, and also the expectation was there, like, is it going to be awesome now, because we waited in 4 years, but it was amazing. It was amazing, and I felt like it was the bond and the union that God wanted it to be.
Yeah.
It was like, I can say, fireworks. There it is, fireworks.
Yeah.
And and that's why I laugh when people say they have to try something out, but I had no doubt, because Timmy is a great kisser. And so, being a Proverbs 31 wife, I mean, he's a great kisser. I knew that God was going to give me something that was worth having. So I had no doubt.
Beautiful.
And for me, I felt like I was finally having legal sex I didn't have to have guilt about.
That was him. Yeah.
But at the same time, it felt a little bit strange because it had been so long. I almost felt like I was like wow, I'm actually gonna touch her. It's like it felt it felt like new,
Wow.
like wow,
Yeah.
I didn't want to violate her. I did do everything right. And it was, it was great. And I know that's the last woman. This is the last woman I will ever have sex with until the day I die. There's no other woman I want. I don't need to fantasize about somebody else while I'm with her. She's the only one I want to think about.
That's beautiful.
I don't need any toys. I don't need any videos. I don't need nothing.
Wow.
I got this little hottie right here, and I'm home. This is it.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing
Well,
when
I'm
you
home
wait
too.
like that? It's almost like becoming a virgin again.
Yeah,
And I believe
well, that's
because God
exactly how I
restored
felt.
and refreshed.
Yeah, I felt like I was a virgin all over again.
Yes, yes.
And it was just, but it was a nice feeling, because just think if I'd been in a relationship and I was having sex all the time, or we had sex prior. I mean, okay, the wedding was beautiful, the honeymoon is nice, but there wouldn't be anything really personally to look
Expectation.
forward
Yeah.
to, other than just, our new life together. But this holding off
It's so
and just having
special.
this as something sacred
Mm-hmm.
made it even more
Yeah, most
more
people, the
special.
only
Think
thing they
about it.
have special is
Their
the
new
wedding
life.
ceremony.
Yeah.
What's
Right.
that?
Yeah.
Right.
There's
So,
nothing else. They already had it all.
Right.
and to answer Shanta's question, she said, before Tim, being that I'm older, was it challenging finding and dating a man without kids? You know what? It wasn't a challenge finding and dating men without kids, because I did date a few guys that had a couple, actually, that had children. It was mostly the fear of, hearing from my girlfriends, you don't want to have that baby mama drama, which would steer me away from wanting to date men with kids. But I did date a couple with kids, and it was fine, but they weren't the right one. And also, I wasn't true to myself because I ended up having sex with them. And then I looked at them afterwards and I said, why am I even with you? And so there's where, like I said, the sex can cloud your opinion of someone because you're just thinking of the physical, because it's just the flesh. But there was nothing that attractive to me about them afterwards. So, that's why I now say it's better to hold off when you're looking for that divine one, opposed to sharing your body.
What's Cassandra's asking you a question too here, I think, Tim?
Okay, what?
Um, can you see that, Karen? Do you have a relationship with the kids, mom? And also, Tim, do you have a problem with Karen making more money than you?
Who said Karen makes more money than me?
I guess that's what
He's
Cassandra
saying it.
thinks.
Well,
Where'd you
okay.
get that
I
from,
don't.
Cassandra? Are you in my finances?
I don't. I don't really have a relationship other than hi, how are you with the kid's mom. She's kind of a standoffish person. So, what can I do? Other than, hi, how are you today? But
I
she's
mean,
weird. She's weird.
it's cordial. It's not about
You
her being
know?
weird. It's cordial. She just, Karen's more outgoing. She's a little more reserved. So it's they see each other. They wave, say hi, and exchange the kids. But it's not really a whole lot to say because basically, when we have the children, she never makes any interference with anything we do or any decisions, and doesn't give us instructions and blah blah
Right,
blah.
which is
And when
great.
she has the kids, we don't do the same. They have two completely different lives. We trust each other and we work together. And the few times we do interact, we may give each other the most minor amount of input, and we both respect it and always carry through. So there is no real reason to have a relationship because there's nothing bad, but there's also no kumbaya where they're just hanging out. It's just um, that's other mother. And when they're here, everything is about this mother. When they're there, everything's about other mother. So the children have to go back and forth and flip the switch between home A and home B. But the women don't really have a reason, there's no bad blood or animosity, but there's
No.
also no, hugs and kisses. Let's go hang out and go shopping. And it's just no reason to, because that's my past life. And the only relevance she has in my life whatsoever is the fact that she is the birth mother. But for my world, this is the mother of the children in my family, because this family lives here.
Yeah.
What's over there, I don't even know if she's dating anybody. It's none of my business what's over there. I'm not saying that in an ugly way. It's just that's not my business.
And you would be happy if she remarried.
I would
I'm
love
sure.
to, and
Yeah.
I would expect the boys to call whoever she marries dad, and I would have nothing but support for her. So it's no animosity, it's just not anything that we really think about because we live here.
Yeah, we try to focus on in the moment right now.
And even sometimes Karen would say, tell your other mother. I'm like, no, we don't talk about other mother. Other mother is completely a separate entity. We have no right to tell them what they should do, and that's other mother, and that's her time, and that's her domain, and it's up to the boys to flip their own switch. But we have no jurisdiction over there, and she has no jurisdiction over here. And like I said, that's not with animosity. It's just not a thought. It has nothing to do with us because we live here. And when the boys are here, we're a family. When they're not, we're just husband and wife. So Karen actually gets the best of both worlds. She has half a week with only me and a half a week with all of her family. So it's kind of great. When they come, she's excited to see them. And when they go, she misses them a bit, but she's also excited just to spend time with just me and her. So we're able to really enjoy, a great balance that a lot of parents don't get to have because they have their kids 365.
Right.
So, she's a full-time mother and a part-time mother, but always a full-time wife.
All right.
Yeah, and that's what was what I wanted anyway, was to be a full-time wife.
That's beautiful. Well, is there anything else you guys? Oh my gosh, it's been so wonderful this, and I know people's coming on still and asking questions, and I do look forward to hopefully you guys come back next week so that we can answer these questions because it's so important. I think the most important that you guys have shown all of us is that you put God first, and God way is the best way. And even through your transitions and your challenges and so forth together, you guys been able to, still be solid because you have put him first and have made a remarkable family, and it's going to continue to go that. The challenges doesn't stop. I mean, that's how you
That's right.
excel and soar in your relationships. So those are some things that we definitely would like to talk about next week. But is there anything else you guys would like to close and say as we wrap this up?
I'll say, never give up.
I was going to say that.
Okay, you say it.
Never give up, because I know the kings are out there. And I hate it when I hear women say there's not any good men. There's tons of good men. It's what you think you want may not be what is right for you. And I am a victim of this, and that's why I can speak this, because I had a list, literally a list that I used to carry, and I used to post it also on the mirror in my bedroom of my guy had to have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And you know what? That list, throw it away. Be open and receptive to what God has in store for you. But also, in that time period, be ready. Because if you're not happy with yourself, you can't expect another man or another person to make you happy. So be happy with where you are, who you are, what you're doing right now, and that will just shine, and you will just be effervescent, and you will attract. That energy will attract that king a little bit quicker. But don't think that that king is going to come and fix you, or women, that you can fix him. No, 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 no. There's no such thing as fixing. You fix yourself, and you will find that divine person. And that's what I want to say.
You can adjust, but you can't fix. Now, since she said don't give up, I'll go somewhere else. The biggest problem in every relationship you've had is you, yourself, and you. Every relationship you've ever been that didn't work out, you were there. And you also chose the person that it didn't work out with. So you have a responsibility to first go inside and figure out what the heck is wrong with you. Once you figure that out, once you become a better person, everybody else around you magically seems to get better because you make better choices. And what we have is people who are broken and trying to find another broken person to align with to try to fix their brokenness. And broken plus broken is extra broken. So you have to fix yourself and find somebody who's fixed their self, and then you have something that's extra fixed. So you get out what you put in. And just remember, every bad relationship you've ever been in, you've been in it, and you've been an active participant in why it's bad, even if you don't think you did. And one of the biggest problems is lack of personal responsibility for our own failings. I had to realize I failed myself, and even more so, I failed God. And when I decided to stop failing myself by, whipping out little Mr. Penis and sticking it wherever I thought it wanted to go, and say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to respect my body. I'm a man. I'm going to respect my body. I'm going to respect God. I'm going to respect myself, and find somebody who's willing to wait and do all the work first, and then add the fun stuff to it. We get the fun stuff first, and then we never do the work. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden we wake up and it's like, oh my God, what am I in now? That's backward. We gotta do better. It's not that difficult. There is no rocket science. There's no magic. There's fixing yourself and finding somebody that's done an equal amount of work, and then doing a lot of work before you make the decision. Make the decision with a strong commitment, and then live your life to the fullest as husband and wife. And that's the best advice I can give you. Sex is way better after you own it.
It sure is. And prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for your king. Act as if your king is already in your life. And once you have that in your spirit, you will see that God will answer your prayer. Don't get discouraged when you go to bed and you say, oh my God, another day, another year, another month, and I haven't met him. Yeah, it's hard. Say, thank you, God, that I am one day closer to meeting my divine king or my divine queen, and watch what happens.
Woo! Yes, I love it. You guys are so awesome, so awesome. Thank you so much for being on here, and I'm sure you touched many people's lives because I'm touched myself. So I'm so grateful to you guys, and I do look forward to next week. Everyone out there. Oh yeah, one more thing. Why don't you tell them about Tim and Karen if you like, so that they can come if they want to go to your YouTube page and so forth. Go ahead and say that before you go.
We have a YouTube page. If you go to Tim and Karen Alexander, our names, YouTube, Tim and Karen Alexander. We also have a Facebook page, Tim and Karen Alexander, and we have a video series we call Happy Husbands Wives Club. There's a lot of them on Facebook. There's even more of them on YouTube, and you can go through and we give very energetic,
Great
advice where we only talk about marriage and the positive. And we have other couples come on with us, or other men and other women. We sit down and we just powwow and talk about the real and keep it real and make it a little entertaining.
And I think you'll enjoy it. We have 30 videos in the web series, Happy Husbands, Happy Wives Club.
And then we have some other general family videos and other relationship videos, just Karen and I. So, we're trying to give something because we love people. And as controversial as I may seem at times, this is who I am.
And we want everyone to be with that somebody,
Yeah, we do.
Because it's really all about love. So we want everyone to find that love. And you just have to be ready and prepared. You wouldn't want that right person, him or her, to come into your life and you're not ready. So work on yourself. Go within. Be ready. Look at all your past and let it go, because you're in the present now. But see if there's anything in there that you can change about yourself so you're prepared. Because once you get in that relationship, and I'm telling you, I had a lot of adjustments to make, even though I did all the work.
Yeah.
There's still adjustments to make. So you want to have all that old stuff handled because you have new adjustments coming when you get into a marriage.
And I knew people would never understand me until I had proof of concept, because I ranted and raved, and what I said is often very unpopular. True, but very unpopular. And I realized that one day when God gave me the right woman after I did what I was supposed to do, people would look at me and say, this guy can't be that bad or that wrong if he has this and she's that happy.
He's a blessing.
So think what you thought about me, but look at who I am. Look at where I landed.
It's a puppy dog.
Yeah. And then maybe you need to think again and decide if maybe you kind of got me wrong. Because I'm all about right. I'm about good values. I'm about family. I'm about being responsible. I'm about love. And
you are.
I'm about trying to share and help people with my life, from the bad to now the good, to try to understand a better way to be. I failed when I decided to have sex and try to make a marriage out of it. Didn't work. So I'd have to be an idiot to advise people any other way than what I found has worked. I found that it's worked for a lot of other people as well. So, I can't say anything more important than how important it is to respect your body.
Your body's your temple.
And respecting your body is not freedom and popping off about how you can do what you want to do, and it's your body, your choice.
And you can do all those things when you're married.
Yeah.
If that is your choice. If you're looking for marriage, you can do that with your one and only significant king.
Yeah. But if you just want to do your thing and be only partially content, if you're content at all, you absolutely have that right. It's a dumb choice. I'm sorry, I'm just being real blunt. That's just who I am. It's a dumb choice, by my opinion. Now, that's my opinion. You don't have to take it, but my opinion is it's a dumb choice. So, I, as a man, can say I'm happier than I've ever been in my life after I decided to not have sex until I met this woman. Now, if you gentlemen, I'm going to speak to the men, think that you're happier doing what you're doing, just exploring the whole world, which, I've done that too. I gladly gave that up and would give it up 100 times for this, because it's a hollow victory. I don't have to worry about who I'm going to grow old with, who's going to help me through and rub my back and make sure I'm eating good. And I don't have to worry about that. You know, what is your future going to be? It's hard to find the right person, you know, and
And
I'm
life
so
is meant to be
glad.
shared.
And dating nowadays, man, at some point, every man on earth, somebody can say he did something inappropriate. And right now, with all this new media hype, how do you kiss a girl for the first time? Do you ask her? Do you like give her a form to sign her name to give you permission? You know, I mean, it's a dangerous landscape out there. You know, and it's just not, it's just not easy. So, you know, it's very important to adjust your values because the way the world is going now is going to close in on you because sin can be enjoyed for a season. And this rampant do whatever you want to do, have a ball, have it your way is coming to a close. And not just because God said so. Right now, the world seems to be upending any man they can. And, you know, men, be careful. And to the women, you know, pretty much ditto. Decide if you want a family or if you want to be a single mother or a single woman trying to face the world. My wife no longer has to get the bugs. She doesn't have to take out the trash. She doesn't have to worry about what the sound is downstairs. She doesn't have to pick up the heavy stuff. She's protected and she's loved by not just me, but by two growing boys who are going to be taller, bigger men than I am, who will cater to her for the rest of her days. So her life is set. And there's something about security, especially as you get a little bit older, that you don't realize how valuable it is when you're younger, having a ball. But, you know, it's really important to have somebody that you can rely on for the rest of your life. You never have to worry what kind of stupid boner they're going to do and when you're going to not be able to find them and when they're going to kick you to the curb and all the other foolishness that happens in the way people are hooking up.
And it is harder to date as you get older because
Yeah.
all of us are naturally set in our ways. So it's one of those things that, you know, you don't want too much time to pass because I was worried about that because I know I like things a certain way. And it's like that adjustment is like, was driving me nuts of like just realizing that Tim is going to do it differently than I am. Pick my battles. Okay, so he wants to leave his shoes there. I'm not going to argue about that. I'm just going to move them and let it go. And it's all of those things that you have to adjust to when you are in a relationship and you're married. Whereas when you are alone and single, oh, you know that once you put something there, it's going to be there. No one's going to touch it and move it. So it's like, you know, we get set in our ways and you don't want to be so set in your ways you're not open and receptive to allowing someone to come into your life. So, you know, take heed to that. You know, don't waste too much time with let me check him out and date him for a little while or be with this one or no, life's too short. Life's too short.
Yes.
Yeah.
Save yourself, pray to God, be open and receptive, and your king is coming.
Woo!
And he might be just right around the corner.
The king is coming. All right.
The
I
king
love
is
it.
coming.
Yes.
There you
Thank
go.
you. Thank you,
And
Karen.
you have to recognize him. Don't push him away because, I mean, think about what happened to Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Those Jews have been waiting for him for how long? He finally comes and they said, nah, you didn't come right. I wanted you to be
Exactly.
like flossy and robed up and riding in on the big thing and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, not you. That's not, I want him more.
There you go. Recognize your king.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize your king.
Recognize him.
Thank you.
We
And thank you
recognize who
for
the king
kinging up.
is.
Thank you. I commend you for being the king of your household and putting your
Thank
household
you.
in order and doing what it takes to make it the way it is. So all praises
And
to
it
the Most
doesn't take
High.
anything away from you as a woman to have a king. That doesn't say that you're a weak woman. It doesn't mean that you are not independent, you're not smart, you can't have a job.
She goes anywhere she wants and does anything she
You
wants to do.
can't be with your girlfriends, you can't have you know, whatever your heart's desire is. It just means you are stronger as a queen when you have a king running the kingdom.
Woo! Go ahead,
Because
girl.
I plunge the toilet and get the poo-poo out when it gets stopped up. My goal is to make sure that she's happy.
Yes.
And all the ugly stuff It's my job to do. And
So-
all the good stuff is for her.
So you don't lose anything. In fact, it enhances who you are to have a leader, a priest in the home, a true king.
Yes, yes.
So God bless everyone, and I hope they find their king. And if they don't find their king or queen in 2017, just know 2018 is the year.
Woo,
that is the year.
And even if it's 19, 20, 2021, wait.
It's coming. It's coming. Don't get discouraged.
Don't
I
Have
get
waited
faith.
8 years.
Don't get discouraged. I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many times I was on my knees praying to God, saying, thank you, God, that I am one day closer to meeting my king.
All right.
And he heard me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And if it wasn't through him speaking through my girlfriend who said, just go on Tinder, give it 1 week. What do you have to lose? It's free. Just go on there. Just have faith, and what you write will deter the guys that are out there just looking for a one-night stand. And God bless her, because she was right. Tony was right.
All right.
I wrote something of quality, short, to the point, and there he was. I met him in that week.
Oh, there we go. All right. All right. Well,
When you look through a catalog, you find a picture that attracts your eye.
Mm-hmm.
Then you read the description under the picture, as brief as it is, and you decide if you want to purchase that product. That's what Tinder is. If you want some trash to play around with and have some good old irresponsible time, is there. If you want somebody with some quality, make sure to read the description carefully, and it's there.
There it is. It's there.
Do you think I'll be a Tinder reject?
No, Tinder you can get on. There's no approval process. You say,
you can get on that.
Okay.
That's easy. Yeah, that's
even
no test.
even you can be on Tinder.
Yeah, that is no test. Where you have to answer a series of questions.
No,
Yeah.
you'd be the hottest thing on Tinder. Tinder would, wow, you're gonna get lots of swipes to the right.
A lot of them.
You're just gonna have to filter good.
You have to filter good, and you just have to be right on target.
Let me check out your profile. We'll write it for you.
Oh,
We'll put
yes,
the right
please.
Make sure don't put no hot chick pictures.
No hot chick
Put some pictures of you, no makeup on, just regular. Let somebody fall in love with the authentic you.
Authentic me.
Don't show them your best you.
Okay.
Show them a okay version of you.
And then when you have your date, that's when you show them the best you.
Okay.
And they're
Right.
like, woohoo!
Do it in reverse.
You do it in
make
reverse.
sure you say, not looking for a hookup, boom, 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 celibate Christian woman, trying to find a man who's a king, who wants to, get married, because
hobbies.
I'm not looking just to date.
No.
Make it clear what you want.
Yes.
Make it clear.
Yes.
Like what I said, I wanted someone who loved God, who loved family,
Yes.
who was kind, who was loyal, who was intelligent, who was trustworthy. I mean, those are important characteristics about his personality that mattered to me. And so once you put that, that's going to be like, wow, the right man is going to say, that's a woman. I gourmet cook. I didn't tell him that right away.
Yeah.
But, you
and
leave
she has
a
really
little.
nice legs. She didn't tell me that either.
No, you leave a little to his imagination. You just whet the appetite. But a guy, a true king, can see what's underneath.
And when you write a profile like that, the wrong guy won't even bother. He'd be like, I ain't trying to get with that. She's celibate.
They just go next.
No, let him know I'm celibate. Then they won't even bother. It's like, don't even apply. Just swipe me to the left and save me all the drama.
You will have so many inquiries that you will be like, which one do I want to have a conversation with and go meet?
Quality ones.
Quality. Yes.
But most people aren't bold enough to stand on what they stand for. It's almost like not professing Christ. Well, I love Christ, but I don't want to say it outside because people think I'm weird, and then they won't want to talk to me. No. Stand on what you stand on from the beginning if you want to stand on it in the end. So lay it out. This is who I am. If you want this, and you're man enough, and you have like values, then step up. Let's see what we can do.
Absolutely.
But if not, swipe me to the left.
There you go.
I love it.
You can do it.
Well, I will let you guys know.
All right.
We'll see what happens. But thank you guys. You
Okay.
definitely inspiration.
Bye.
And you guys are the best. God bless you. And God's willing, we'll see you guys next week. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, I want to thank you guys for coming on and being here with Karen and Tim as they talk about Are you ready? Are you ready for that person in your life? And like they said, there's things that you go through, situations, there is challenges, but you know what? First, fix yourself. Make sure that you are fixed so that you can be prepared for that relationship and understand, even in your preparation and thinking that you are ready, doesn't necessarily mean that you will be, because there are going to be things still that you're going to be challenged with in that relationship. So thank you for being a part of Rocking with Me. Also, if you would like to be a guest here on Rock Life with Zion, please email me at rocklifewithzion@gmail.com. That's ROCKLIFEWITHZION@gmail.com. Or message me. I would love to have you as a guest. Also, I would love for you to be part of the love movement. I am looking for volunteers and I am looking for soldiers. My kings and my queens, we need to come together to build this kingdom and do this kingdom work. Please, again, inbox me. And you can definitely get me on my email, and that's rocklifewithzion@gmail.com. I'll be on here this Sunday coming, talk about I Am Free. And that'll be Sunday at 7:30. Coming soon, we're going to be having Karen White and Derek Muhammad with Yell in the Storm. They're going to be a guest coming here soon, and I'll keep you posted on that. But make sure you go there and check out that movie. It is totally off the chain. Again, that is Karen White with Yell in the Storm and Derek Muhammad with the Derek Muhammad film. So please do check that out, and they shall be coming soon on The Vibe, and that is on Tuesday. And also next Thursday, we'll have Tim and Karen back. So get your questions, anything that you have that you want to know. Tell your single friends, people that are ready to have a real relationship. All the bull crap to the side, all of trying to fake before you make it, trying to be in relationships and not being the true you. It is time for you to be honest and to yourself first. If you desire to have that husband or that wife, fix yourself and stop playing the games. If you really want a person that's real, then become real. If you want love, then become that love. Whatever it is that you desire to have, you should become that first so that God can bless you. And he blesses those who are in relationship with him. As your relationship with God grow, your relationship with that person shall be even better, because you will use the principles that you use in having that relationship with God in your relationship. Again, thank you for rocking with Zion, because there's only one way to the rock, and that is through Yeshua Christ. Have a good one. Ciao.